YouTube. So I'm in the back of my BMW F15 X5 and I'll show you how to get access to the batteries. So in the back of your car, you'll have to clear out whatever's on top of this and just lift this up. You've got a few goodies under here. You've got tow hitch if you need to get towed. You've got your lock nut key for your wheels over here, and then you've got this seemingly useless screwdriver, but it is actually useful. So I'll show you. To get access to the batteries, there's 5 of these clips like this. So you just stick the flathead end of your screwdriver under there and just pry it up a little bit, and that'll pop out hopefully as one. You have to get both bits out, otherwise when you lift this out, the bottom bit will pop out and you'll lose it. So just make sure you get both bits out. And then what is cool is you take this, so it's a double-ended screwdriver, so you can use Phillips head or flat, but what we use here is you've got a couple of, basically a socket, and that you can use that to undo these bolts. There's just 2 bolts, one there and one there. The actual socket, if you don't have the screwdriver, if someone's flogged it out of your car, is an 8mm. But if you've got the genuine screwdriver, it is kind of handy in that respect. So you get your little things out and then just grab the strap and pull it all out. So you're looking at 2 batteries here. You got a small one, that's a 570 CCA, and this is a 900. And this model of X5 that I've got here is actually a 40E, so it's a hybrid. So it's actually got a large EV battery, and that's part of the reason why the 40Es don't carry a spare tyre, is because the battery uses up the whole underfloor in the back here. So yeah, there's no spare storage, unfortunately, so the cars have to run flats. But yeah, so that's how you get access to your batteries here, and then you can do your testing. So if you've got, say, a low voltage warning, for example, you would get yourself a multimeter, chuck it into 12 volt mode, so that'll be a solid line with dashes, put it on 20, and then you can go across your terminals here. So put the positive there and the negative there, and that'll show you what whatever the reading is. So when it's not running, you want it to be, it should be around 12 volts to 12.5, and then when it is running, it should be charging, so it should be sitting up near the 13.5, 14 volt mark. They're lead acid, and this is AGM, so they're both AGMs. So the charging should be in the high 13s and sometimes peaks at 14 volts if the electrical system's working properly. That's sort of like a normal X5, I guess you say, one that's charging off the alternator. If you've got the 40E or the 50E, then it's got a clever system where your car uses a DC to DC charger to charge these 2 batteries. So it's a very nice smooth charge curve for these 2. But yeah, regardless, they both have to be in the high 13s to 14 volts to be charging correctly. So just to explain the basic flow of what's happening, so you've got this main cable here that comes from your alternator, and it goes through this box here, which is a fusible link, and then it comes up to this post here, which is your positive on the starter battery. The starter battery is priority for charging. You also have another cable here that runs to a PCM. This unit here in between, you'll see there's a large heat sink. It controls the charging of the auxiliary battery, which is also pretty important. So you'll see it, your power passes in and then goes to the positive post of your smaller AGM battery. Essentially, the car, when it's stopped, so when you're at a stop sign or a set of lights or something, When it turns off, this battery becomes pivotal because it keeps everything running in the car, like your heating, your fan, all your electrics, while the car is off. So it's sort of like a backup. It is still charged in priority, but obviously the starter is the most important, and then the PCM controls when the starting charges for this battery. So sometimes you may find that when the car is running, if you put a multimeter over the auxiliary, it may not be 14 volts. That doesn't mean that it's not working properly. If the PCM deems that, for example, that the starter hasn't got enough voltage yet, it will cut off, act as a shut-off relay, and that will allow the starter to charge up more first, and then when it's ready, then it will start charging the auxiliary battery. What you will find is that, just like most dual battery systems, one battery has the ability to kill the other. So if you've got voltage warning issues and that sort of thing in the car, quite often if you take it to somewhere knowledgeable, they will swap out both batteries, and it's not that they're trying to rip you off. For example, let's say your auxiliary battery's nearly dead. When the car stops, it will sense that this battery doesn't have enough, and so the PCM is smart, and it will allow the car to restart and run all its systems and restart on this battery. But obviously that's putting more load on this battery, and since this one doesn't get charged enough, well, then this one has to work harder, and vice versa. If your starter battery is starting to die, which that one quite often dies first more than the auxiliary, but if that dies, then the auxiliary has to work harder because they are linkable, and it will still start, but then this one will be working harder, and your starter starts dying. So yeah, the long story short, if they tell you you have to swap batteries out, you're probably going to be up for 2 batteries, because if they know what they're doing, they'll swap them out as a pair, and also they've got to be programmed. You've got to code them. So in Bimelink or whatever you use, whatever system, you do have to code new batteries. If you're just changing out one, especially if you're just changing out the auxiliary, sometimes you get away with not coding it. But if you're wondering, essentially what the coding does is it monitors the battery's voltage so that it knows where the starting point is for charging. So some batteries might, let's say, they might sit at 12.3. Then when it is charging, it will be charged at a certain rate. Whereas if it's a battery that likes to sit at 12.9 when it's idle, then the charging rate might be set higher. But either way, the car needs to know, and the only way to do that is to code the batteries when you replace them. So quite often, if you change this one, definitely needs to code it. And if you change the auxiliary, sometimes you don't need to code it if you're only just changing one. But as I said, always best to actually change them out as a pair. Batteries are, it's an annoying thing, but they're not expensive, I wouldn't say, but it's just one of those things, you know. If you get a 5 to 7 years out of them, you're laughing, and they really aren't. If you look at it in terms of that, they're not really that expensive. So anyway, that's how you access the back of your car to check your batteries. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.